Okay. Well, good morning. I'm Susan Jarvie, and we're going to do yin yoga today at the wall. And it's basically a practice to eliminate exhaustion. I think we all feel that on occasion, if not all the time. That's what draws us to yoga and our yoga practice, exhaustion and being able or unable to focus and be mindful. So we come into our practice to help us to learn those things. So we're going to begin at the wall with our legs up the wall. And the easiest way to get into that is to sit with one hip against the wall with your legs tucked in. And then you'll just tip back. So you're going to see the top of my head as I do this. I may move the camera yet. Anyways, we tip back and put the legs up the wall. And your seat can be closer to the wall. That's the hardest part, is to get your bum close to the wall. So bringing the feet onto the wall, maybe lifting the bum up and then crawl your shoulders or rock yourself till you get there. If your hamstrings are really tight, then you might not want to be too close to the wall. And then with the blanket, we're going to take just the edge of the bottom, the edge of it, you can see there, I think, and roll that so that it's under your neck and provides you a little bit of support. And then the back of the head is on the blanket. And we're going to stay here for 5 minutes. And so at any time, if you feel like your legs are falling asleep or it doesn't feel like a good position, you can always bring the knees down or bend the knees and bring your feet down. And otherwise we'll stay here. So arms are going to go out to the side, kind of like Shavasana. Shavasana arms. Palms face up. And we close our eyes if you'd like to. I always like to close our eyes. My eyes, as I close them, gives me the opportunity to close out the world around me. And we begin to settle in. And this legs up the wall is a great way to allow all of the fluids to move down from the legs and the feet and come back up into our body. The fluids and energy as well. And because we're going to be here for a while, and this is a yin practice, and it is a slower practice, and it's a colder day today, you feel free to have extra blankets around to cover yourself with, or use sweaters and jackets and socks. And let this be easy. And we want to first take a few breaths as you come onto your mat. Nice deep breath, breathe in. And a slow exhale, letting go of any tension or stress you hold as you soften and sink into the yoga mat, into the earth. And then scan the body and notice what you're feeling anything that's tight or sore or uncomfortable. And if there are places that feel greatly uncomfortable, feel free to find a way to modify this posture so that you can feel more comfortable. As the blanket is under our head, that gives you a little cushion, a little roll under the back of the neck, helps us to keep our neck from being too flat. We can maintain that natural curve that's supposed to be there. Other modifications would be moving away from the wall so that the hamstrings are not stressed during this posture. And of course, using blankets to cover with if you're cold. And so today we want to work at more of a 70% effort. I know if you're like me at all, I always am like 150% pushing and working. Even in yoga, I'm going to over effort often. And this practice allows us to back away from that over efforting and really relax into it. We feel the weight of the seat, the hips, the back especially the lower back where the hips are, sinking into the earth. And the whole spine is resting. The shoulders are soft as the collarbones grow wide. And eventually we begin to connect to the breath, following the belly and the chest as they rise and fall with each breath you take. And we really just want to focus on breathing and noticing, where is the breath in the body? Where do you feel it the most? As we lie on our back, it's really easy generally to feel the belly rise and fall. But sometimes it's hard to feel that. So noticing the chest rising and falling is an alternative. Or maybe feeling the breath at the back of the throat, or even at the space below the nostrils and above the upper lip, feeling the cool air move in through the nose. And then noticing how the body has warmed the breath as the exhale moves out the nostrils. And so we are going to move our legs wide now. So slowly and gently take your feet out wide on the wall, as far as you can comfortably go. So we go to that maybe first place where you start to feel any sensation, and pause. And then maybe go a little further. We don't want to over effort here. So there would be some holding because the legs are going to be wide and we have to kind of hold them in place there. And just go maybe 70%. You don't have to go 110 or even 100. Go to a place where you can stay. And we're going to stay here for 5 more minutes. Knowing that you can always adjust if this becomes too much to hold. And breathing in and breathing out. And again, noticing now, where is the breath and has it changed? Has it moved somewhere else? And go ahead and relax your feet and your hands, toes and fingers. Moving inward, and finding just one thing to focus on. One part of the breath, or maybe focusing on the whole journey of the breath. Noticing the breath move in through the nose, feeling it brush over the back of the throat, feeling the belly rise, and then the chest lifts. As the inhale is complete, belly and chest soften back down. And the breath moves up. We can feel it brush the back of the throat and move out through the nose. As we quiet the mind, everything else quiets and slows down. And we feel free to widen the legs a little more if that's something that feels okay for you. Certainly don't push. Don't go too far. Go to a place where it feels comfortable for you and a place that you can hold as you follow the breath, belly rising and falling with each breath. Breathing in. I know I breathe in. This is where I choose to focus my attention. Breathing out. I know I breathe out. Now, when you're ready, we're going to gently bring those legs back up. Nice and slow and steady. And then bend into the knees and bring your feet to the wall and offer your body a little movement. So, kind of like a windshield wiper in a way, rocking back and forth. You can lift a hip off the floor as you go to each side. And then come back to the middle. And we're going to find Baddha Konasana. So we'll bring the feet together, big toes and inner heels touch, and then take the feet wide, or the knees wide, bottom of the feet come together, and maybe let the heels slide down towards your groin to a place that feels comfortable. Once again, we don't want to stress ourselves. We're not doing anything crazy here. Just go to a place where it feels good for you and where you can hold. And this is going to be another 5-minute hold if you can. Again, if it feels uncomfortable, you can always come up, bring your feet up, bring the knees into the chest, whatever feels best for you in this time. Knees are gently pressing towards the wall as the heels draw down. And we hold and find the breath. Breathing in, once again, feeling the belly and the chest expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. And think about pressing the sacrum and the tailbone downward. And notice how everything feels. What's going on in your body? Where do you feel tension or stress? Make this as comfortable as you can. And where does the breath go? And sometimes, as we're pausing in these long holds, we focus on the breath and figure or see where it is or feel where it is. Sometimes we feel it more in the belly, sometimes it's more in the chest, sometimes more in the throat, or sometimes we might feel the breath in the hips or in other parts of the body, the ribs. So really focus and feel and notice the breath. Where is it in your body? Allow it to be easy, breathing in smooth, slow, long, even broad. Breathing out, letting it be easy. Everything lets go. When we're exhaling, we're letting go of tension and stress. When we're inhaling, we're bringing in light and energy. I'm just here for another 30 seconds or so. That might be just about 2 or 3 more breaths. Now, when you are ready, we can take our hands to our knees or to the outer thighs and slowly draw the knees into the chest. And then pause, let your feet rest on the wall. Notice what you feel, where you feel it. And then squeeze the knees in nice and tight, even lifting the tailbone up towards the ceiling, gathering the knees into the chest. Maybe even feeling a little pinch on the hip flexors at the front of the hips. And then if you want to rock a little, feel free to do that. It's kind of waking up back muscles. Sometimes when we're resting in these postures, some of the muscles get a little sleepy or you start to feel like parts of the body fall asleep. Good. And then go ahead and come back and feet on the wall again. And feel free to do some of those windshield wipers. And then we come back. We'll go ahead and extend our legs back up the wall. And I have kind of moved away from the wall. I don't know if you have, but try to get your bum closer to the wall. Unless your hamstrings are tight. If your hamstrings are tight, we stay away from the wall a little further to give you a little more space. Legs up the wall. And then we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So we create that figure 4. And try to make sure that your outer ankle is on the thigh, so it's not just the outer edge of your foot. And then the left leg is extending straight from the hip. So we don't want to move our leg over to the center. Keep it over your hip. And we start here. Arms are wide, palms facing up. I have to keep adjusting my microphone. There we go. As I rest on the back of the microphone, it jostles it back and forth. And I don't know if it changes the way it sounds, but it probably does. And so from here, we rest and take a few breaths. Notice in your body what you're feeling. And then maybe think about pressing that right knee a little closer to the wall. And the back of your sacrum, the sacrum and tailbone, the low part of your back presses down. And then after a few breaths, if you'd like to move on, and you don't have to, remember, we're not over efforting today. We're keeping everything light and slow and smooth and working at maybe 70 or 75% instead of 100. If you'd like to try to move on, we'll slide that left leg down on the wall just a little, not too far. A little bit of a bend, and if that becomes too much, you can straighten your leg. And so we come into sort of an extending reverse pigeon posture here. And it's not a full reverse. Our left leg is not bending at a right angle. It's just we're just sliding down a little bit, just a little bit of a knee bend, and that's going to increase the intensity of the stretch on your outer right hip and glute. And then notice that if you bent your left knee, did you tip over to the right? That is our body's natural escape plan. So maybe try to come back so that you're at least centering on your back, or maybe even leaning a little bit to the left. And then think about pressing the back of your waist again. I'm sorry, not the waist, the back of the the lowest part of your back, the sacrum and the tailbone, pressing down. And we breathe and hold. Finding the breath again, feeling the belly and the chest with each inhale, and slowly relaxing and letting go of any tension you're feeling in that outer right hip with your exhale. And this is not a super long hold. We're going to be here for 3 minutes, or 3 more minutes, I will say. At any time, you can come out of the posture, straighten the legs, straighten both legs, move about. We just don't want to fidget. The fidgetiness is not a friend of ours in yin yoga. That's really our ego, our mind, trying to get your attention. And when that happens, or you start to go, oh, I have an itch or a tickle, or I need to move, see if you can let that go and guide your attention to focus on breathing. Belly rising and falling. Sometimes it's helpful to simply say, breathing in, I know I breathe in. Breathing out, I know I breathe out. Allowing each exhale to take any tension and stress you feel, releasing it, letting it go. You may let the mind quiet, remembering that yoga is not so much about the posture or the shape of the posture, the shape of your body in a posture. It really is who you are in that posture. Who are you becoming? What do you feel? When you're ready, if you've bent your knee, go ahead and lengthen back into that left leg, uncross. That's a long stretch. Bring your foot back up so your both legs extended, and then rock your feet back and forth. Maybe flop the feet, wiggle the ankles, whatever it takes. Bring a little bit of movement, a little bit of blood flow up to the top. Wiggle toes. And then pause and notice the difference in the hips. What do you feel? How do things feel different? And then we'll move into the second side. So we're going to cross the left ankle now over the right thigh and pause. So you know where you're going, right? We know the extent of this next movement, but it doesn't mean you have to go there. So I challenge you to stay here first. Stay here and find your breath and notice how you feel as you've crossed the ankle over the thigh, making sure that your whole ankle is crossed, not just the outer foot. So it's the ankle, our knee is bending. We might press our knee towards the wall gently, thinking of sacrum and tailbone pressing down gently, or maybe not even efforting at all, just hanging out, finding the breath, breathing in, breathing out. Feeling the belly and the chest expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. Now, if you decided that you would like a little deeper stretch in the outer left hip, feel free now to bend the right knee and let your heel, the right heel, slide down the wall. Just as much as you can feel comfortable there. I don't want it to feel like you're too stressed or putting too much pressure on joints or muscles. Just enough. Just enough where you can stay and breathe and hold and still be you in this posture. Notice if you leaned over to the left. Did we go to the left? That's our body's escape plan to make things easier. Try to stay centered on your back and maybe lean even a little more to the right. Breathing in, I know I breathe in. Breathing out, I know I breathe out. And we follow the breath from the very beginning of the inhale to the very end of the exhale. And if you're having trouble staying focused on breathing, you might consider the mantra, so hum. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale. And the translation from Sanskrit into English is I am. I am that. Breathing in, so. Breathing out, hum. Relax your toes and your fingers. So, hum. And we'll go ahead and find our way out of this posture now. Inhale, straighten into the right leg. And go ahead and release your left leg up towards the wall. Slowly, carefully. And then rock the ankles and the feet back and forth. Maybe rotate the ankles. Maybe point and flex. Wiggle your toes. And come back. Pause for a breath and notice how you feel. What's going on with your legs and your hips? And then we're going to walk our feet down and wide and do a few more windshield wipers. Gently rocking back and forth. And check my notes. Okay, we'll come back to center. And now we're going to do what may look like a squat. If you were standing and you drop down slowly into a squat with your feet, heels flat, feet on the wall, you could take your toes a little bit out to the sides and as wide as comfortable for you. I don't like to take my feet really wide when I'm doing a squat, but my hips are very open. So if you need to take your feet wider, that's fine. We're going to drop the feet down, take the knees wide, but your feet are still on the wall. Excuse me, the whole foot. So the whole sole of the feet on the wall, toe tips are pointed toward the ceiling or out to the wall sides slightly. And then see if you can press your tailbone and your sacrum down into the floor. This will not be a long hold, just a 2-minute hold. Breathing in, belly rising. Breathing out, letting go. Coming back to our mantra. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale. Breathing space and energy into any of those tight muscles you may be feeling. Breathing in light, energy, love into tight places. Breathing out tension and stress. Just 2 more breaths. Now we're going to find our way into a twist here. So you feel free to walk your feet up slightly, and then we're going to walk our feet over to the right. So if you're watching, my right is probably your left. It's under my hip. There we go. Bring the knees down. Bring the feet a little closer. Let the feet rest at the baseboard. And so you have some options here. If this is really uncomfortable for you, you can't quite get your feet to the, or your knees to the floor, you could place a block under the bottom leg or between the legs to make it a little more comfortable. I'm going to try to hang out here with my knees stacked, and then think about exhaling, pull the navel toward the spine. And as you do that, rotate the ribs open toward the ceiling. So your right rib is reaching for your left thigh, and then our left arm comes out to the side. And if you want to, you can turn your head to the left. And we're going to stay here for about 3 minutes. Breathing in, we can feel that it is a little more difficult to breathe when we're twisting. That's information for you, nothing to panic about or worry about. It's just a little more shallow breath than we normally have, or that we normally would take. Moving back to the mantra, so hum. Breathing in, so, and breathing out, hum. So, hum. So, hum. And so we might ask ourselves, who are you? Who am I in this posture? Do we find twists frustrating or difficult to hold? Or can we really relax into the posture? What part of your body can you soften? Where can you breathe a little more light and energy? What place can you breathe into? We go ahead and deepen the breath. Turn your gaze back to the ceiling if you turned your head. And then slowly walk your feet back up the wall, coming onto your back. Once you're there, take a breath. Notice how you feel. How did the twist affect your body? Feel free to straighten the legs if you like to, just for a couple breaths. Or maybe do a little bit of windshield wipers again, just gentle movement. Whatever you choose to do, be focused, be mindful, be present. Wiggle the toes. When you're ready, now you know where we're going. I'm going into the second side. So we will bend the knees, bring the feet to the wall again, and then slowly walk our feet over to the left. The feet come all the way down to the baseboard or the wall. And this is a different side. So take your time and notice, what does your body feel? You might
need a block on this side, or maybe you don't. Maybe what you did on the other side is different than this side. So ask your body what it needs. And then as you start to move into the twist, think about squeezing the belly as you exhale, rotating the ribs open to the ceiling. So now our left ribs are reaching for the right thigh, and our right arm reaches to the side. We can turn our head to the right if you'd like to. And so remember, if you're watching the video, I am not mirroring you. I'm just cueing you to the left side. So it probably looks like I'm going right. It's always opposites. I'd say listen to my words instead of watching. And scan the body and notice how you feel on this side. Does it feel different than the other side? Are there places that are tight or maybe less tight than the opposite side? It's just information for you and your body. No rights or wrongs. I'm going to come back to the breath, noticing how it feels to breathe, and maybe moving back to our mantra, so hum. So on the inhale, hum. On the exhale, I am. I am that. Now, when you're ready, we are going to roll onto our bellies. And so move your blanket aside. And since your legs are to the right, you'll go ahead and roll to the right and find your way over to the belly. And when you come onto your belly, we're going to have our knees at the wall. So knees at the wall. The feet are going to be up the wall. Takes a little effort to get there. Find my notes. And so we'll be up on our forearms for a couple of breaths. Our shins and our feet are up the wall. The tops of the feet where you tie your shoes are on the wall. And then rest on the arms for a couple of breaths here, like we're doing. And then we're going to come into Sphinx pose eventually. So elbows are going to be right under shoulders. Our palms face down, fingers nice and wide. Try not to arch your back. We want the low belly to draw in, tailbone extends towards the wall.
And then we take the shoulders down and back. Press your forearms into the floor, your elbows press down, shoulders are back. And then think about pressing your chin forward like a turtle sticking his head out of a shell. And now press the back of your neck and the back of your head back towards the wall. We're going to hold and breathe. Just a few more breaths. Nice big heart opening posture. Chest opening, heart opening. If you feel yourself collapsing toward the floor, see if you can press the elbows down. Just another breath. And then find your way down. And we're going to rest our head on our arms. So either the fist can stack with your head there, or stack your arms and let your forehead rest on the stacking arms. And breathe. See if you can breathe into the low back. And now we're going to move into another posture. You might want your blanket handy. We'll see how you feel, but we're going to take the, let's see the left knee. We're going to bring our left leg forward, bringing that knee closer to the shoulder as our foot comes onto the wall or the floorboard. Now, if you'd like to, you can place your knee on the blanket, but I want you to remember that if you do that, it's going to create a more intense posture, or a more intense stretch, I should say. So knee on the blanket also gives you some support though. So if your knee doesn't like being on the floor, that supports you good. Okay, and then once you have that, we're going to go ahead and let our foreheads rest on the floor again. Let me find some breathing in and breathing out. You can feel your belly expanding into the floor as you inhale and softening back up as you exhale. And these are not long holds, just about 2 minutes. And with each exhale, try to relax something. And just 3 more breaths, breathing in, expanding the belly and the chest into the floor, into the earth. Breathing out, letting go of tension and stress, letting go of anything you're holding. And then go ahead and take that knee back. I suppose that if you wanted to roll your blanket higher, you could, or put a block under your knee. That is an option to create a deeper stretch in the hip. Move your blanket or support to the opposite side, and you can rock your knees back and forth a little bit, or your feet back and forth. And come back to center, forehead on the
On the arms, breathe, notice, and feel the difference in your sides. Take a moment to notice what that posture did to our body. How do we feel different? Even our energy, how did it change? Okay, so second side. Now we take the left knee onto the floor, up close to our shoulder as our foot comes onto the floor. And then, as I said before, you can stack or place your knee on a blanket or a block or roll your blanket, make it higher. It gives you a little deeper stretch. So the higher your knee is, the more intense that feeling in your left hip is going to be, or your right hip, I should say. Right hip, right knee, right hip. And then when you're ready, forehead comes to the floor or to the forearms again. And we pause and breathe. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and come back up, bringing your knee back to the wall. And we'll pause and notice and feel. And then our next posture is child's pose. And so carefully find your way up onto your knees and find your version of child's pose, letting the seat sink into the heels. And you could rest your arms on your forehead on your arms or your fist, or simply take your forehead down to the floor, and we'll breathe. Breathing into the lower back. Relax your shoulders and your arms so that it's not an active pose. We're resting here. You might even take your arms behind you, palms face up, and we breathe into the lower back. Breathe out. Let the seat sink deeper. Let the shoulders relax more. And stay. Scan and notice how you feel. And when you're ready, hands under shoulders and find your way up. And then we're going to sit at the wall. You can place a blanket under your hips if you'd like to. I'm not staying for very long though. We're just going to sit with our bum all the way against the wall, feeling the support of the wall, leaning into it, and then go ahead and cross your legs. So a cross-legged position. Back of the head presses, hands on the legs. Close your eyes. Feel your seat sinking into your floor, into the floor, the earth, the yoga mat. Shoulders are back, collarbones wide. Back of the head presses gently. Crown of the head lifts towards the sky. Tailbone roots down. Scan your body from the toes to the top of the head and back down again. Notice how you feel. Remember how you felt at the beginning of our practice
and notice what has changed, what feels different. And then if you'd like to, hands can come to your heart. Anjali Mudra. Let me take a nice deep breath, breathing in. A slow exhale, let go of any tension or stress you're holding. And I will say, may your heart be open. May your body be filled with joy. And may you enjoy this day. Always remember that your presence matters. You matter. Always show up and be present for everyone around you. I honor the light that is in each of you. Namaste. Have a wonderful day. I will click out and I will see you next Saturday. I hope you enjoyed
Thank
this
you.
practice.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.